All right, we'll give it a try.
Let's do it.
Eyes
All
and
right.
ears.
I want to get a shot off.
I think we'll all shoot it.
All right.
All right. I'll let you guys shoot it first. Make sure you don't hurt yourselves, then I'll do it.
Down on the strip where the neon glows, there's a little shop everybody knows, where history's bought and treasures are sold, gold and silver, stories untold. When the doors close and the lights dim low, Rick and Chum kick back, friends they get to know. Gold and silver by day, but at night, my friend, Pawn After Dark is where the stories and laughter never end.
Alex Cranmer, known as our firearm specialist. Welcome to Pawn After Dark, where I shine and Rick is just a dim light in the sky. Thanks for being with us today.
Happy
Thanks
to be
for
here.
that, Chum.
How you been, buddy?
I've been great, man. I miss you guys. I'm happy to be back in Vegas.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've done something together. I think we filmed together pretty close to the end of last season, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep, right up to the end, about a little over a year ago.
Yeah,
But,
a little cooler last time you came.
It was, yeah,
Been
early
a cool
spring.
summer for Vegas, though.
I landed last night at like 9 o'clock, and it was 100 degrees.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which
But-
ain't bad.
oh my god, that's
I mean, once you've lived here a while, if it's, once the sun goes down, it's 100 degrees is cool.
well, my shoot schedule when I would come out here, because I did the show about 10 years, and every time I'd want to come, I would always have to wait. Like the earliest I could ever come was September, and usually till October, because we couldn't go to the range because it was just way too hot in the middle of the desert to shoot guns or to even stand there.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. I was practicing last summer in the middle of summer with some long range stuff. So I'd drive to the range, I'd back my car up, set my target, leave the car running, go out, shoot five rounds from prone, get back in my car for 5 minutes, like put a towel over my rifle so that it didn't
Yep.
get too hot, and I'd be in there just like,
Yep.
Oh,
Yes.
I usually shoot in the desert. I just take my motorhome. I got an AC and a fridge.
it's
I've
nice
been
to
in
be
that thing.
rich.
I'm poor.
Can't tell.
Oh,
So, what have you been up to lately?
Well, basically just running my business, raising my kids. My business, International Military Antiques, my dad started it 1981, actually before that in England. And I basically took it over from him in the early 2000s. And now we have 16 employees, 25,000 square foot warehouse, and it's truly a full-time job.
So, what is your day-to-day activities with 16 employees? What do you mostly do?
At some point at that company, I've done absolutely everything. Now I do the things that I have to do in order to make the company run. And that really, again, would be anything it needs that somebody else isn't going to do. So I'm responsible for the high-end stuff of like relationships with the bank, insurance, payroll, all the things that when you romanticize the idea of going into business for yourself, those are the things you don't want to do.
You never think about that.
Yeah, that's the heavy lifting of starting a business. And I didn't start the business, but I took the business from a place of being a mail order business in a catalog with a few employees, taking orders by phone and writing them down on a scratch pad, to completely automating it, making it only e-commerce. But we ship about 150 orders a day and worldwide. And then you get into relationships with shipping contractors, and we don't sell anything that's legally considered a firearm. So everything that we sell is pre-1899 or it's deactivated legally, but there's still regulations around those things sometimes, especially if you're shipping internationally. So, and any vendor that you talk to, like, oh, I sell these things. Oh, you sell deadly weapons, we can't work with you. And you're like, no, actually, we sell like historically significant collectibles that don't work. Or if they do, you have to be so knowledgeable about how to make them work that nobody's running into a bank with a Revolutionary era musket, right?
yeah. I can imagine if you ran into a bank with a musket, like, yeah. It was like, arms up, you damn Yankees.
Exactly. And maybe you get one shot off, and then you have it becomes a club. Like, the security guards are going to jump on you in a second.
It's shocking how many politicians know nothing about firearms.
Yes.
I mean, they know absolutely nothing. I mean, they're clueless, completely clueless.
And because of that, and because it's a shifting landscape, right, with anything that's regulated, we made the decision pretty early on, like you have with the pawn shop, we just don't deal in firearms. We're licensed to deal with them, but we choose not to because the antique stuff for us is our bread and butter. And it sells really well. We love to buy it, collect it, fix it up, and place it with people who enjoy having it without the red tape of I have to do a background check, that kind of thing.
So, do you notice trends in the antique collectible market? And if so, what is the latest trend that everybody has to have?
That's interesting. There have definitely been trends. So in the 90s, collecting American Civil War artifacts was huge, and that was at the peak of that. So you can find, like an officer's hat from the Civil War, a Hardy hat. In the 90s, it was worth more than it is today. In general terms, military antiques has been a collectible market that has continued to grow, continued to appreciate. We haven't seen a whole lot of, unlike stamps or coins or other things, a lot of downturn in it. And Civil War was just so popular at the time that it sort of artificially inflated. Trend-wise, a lot of what we do is dictated by Hollywood and has been traditionally. So my father had the contract to supply, if you remember Saving Private Ryan and Band of Brothers from the 90s, and he had a company in England, and he sold the weapons directly to the armorer on the film, a guy named Simon Atherton. He had a company called Zorg. And so they bought literally thousands of machine guns from us and bayonets and daggers and helmets and all different kinds of things. And they sourced stuff all over the world. And it's funny, my parents got invited to go to the set in England, and they were really excited. They knew there was this big, Band of Brothers, like they'd heard about it, but nobody really knew a lot. And they spent a day there, and they got to have lunch with the cast. They were really excited, meet the stars. And when I asked them about it afterwards, they said, we just sat with the extras. It wasn't really anything special. Everybody kind of ignored us. I mean, we met them, but they're just extras. So the series comes out, and they were sitting with Damian Lewis. They were sitting with all the stars of the film who really nobody knew at that point. Yeah. And back to the point of what is popular. So airborne stuff, because of Band of Brothers, to this day, if we just bought an airborne collection out of the Midwest. So when you
say airborne, define that for me.
So airborne paratroopers. Okay. So they're a unit, in World War II, they were a unit of the Army that were trained to jump out of planes. They were specially trained in different camps around the country. But the Band of Brothers was one specific unit, and a true story, and there was a book written about it. And so airborne memorabilia, because of that story, and if you've watched that series, it really is, whether you are into military history or not, I think most people who watch that series will go, man, that was, an iconic moment in, I would say, like TV history, that Band of, like Sopranos, like other, these really like iconic shows that changed and influenced culture. And so we see that with military collectibles. The more Hollywood makes about different genres, the more people realize, I could buy an airborne helmet from World War II. I wonder how much they cost. Now, a real airborne helmet from World War II is tens of thousands, but there's some that are cheaper. There's all different kinds. I just want the patch.
You can just take a standard World War II helmet and put an airborne sticker on it.
Yeah, I mean, you could to make it look like that, and that's where then you start to encounter fakes in the market, right? Like, this is supposed to be, the painted insignia, and it has D-bails and has a special liner, and that's sort of where we find, I guess, the division of what we do. And so the industry, when I came into it, was much more mom and pop, right?
Yeah, no internet, right?
Yeah, I came at the very beginning. So I started working with my dad in 2004, and I totally backdoored my way into this. This was not Alex wanting a cush job with daddy. I didn't want to work there. I had different plans for my life.
You were going to be an actor.
I was going to be an actor. Mm-hmm. I had very different plans. And I moved to New York after going to school, graduate school for acting at a great program. And I knew I didn't want to be a waiter or a bartender. Not that aren't honorable jobs, they are, but
But
they're
that's what most
hard.
actors do.
It's what most actors do, and that lifestyle is hard. You're up all night, you're on your feet, you're tired. The auditions generally, if they were in New York in the early 2000s, generally 10, 11 in the morning. You got to be in Midtown, you got to be bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, and if you worked an overnight shift and got home at 5 a.m., good luck. You know, you're already 2 steps down before you walk in the door. And I'd had enough friends before me who were doing it who wound up resenting their lives and were like, I can't act, and they quit. So I knew enough about myself to be like, I'm not going to make it if that's what I do. So I had a roommate from college who had moved to Park City, Utah. And Park City is one of my favorite places, and it's an amazing spot to be able to live. But they have an issue with industry. Now, Salt Lake City has built up, but at the time, 25 years ago, it was a little different. So we either worked in hospitality, worked at the ski area, or there were a couple of these little web development firms that opened up. So he got a job at a web development firm, cold calling companies. And after like 2 months, he called me. He's like, dude, I'm going to get fired. I've sold nothing. Help me. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, your dad has this company. They don't even have a website. Like, tell him to buy it, buy what I'm selling. I'm like, well, what are you selling? He's like, I'm selling e-commerce packages. Like, we will build a site for him to sell his products. And it made sense, but these early
Your dad's
days.
old school though, right? He's
Yeah,
like,
totally. No, he was going to do nothing. Like, he needed somebody to help him.
like Rick, the internet was a fad.
That was a joke. I said I knew the internet was something real, mostly.
So you end up getting the website built?
So I said to him, look, I bet I can convince my father, but if we're going to do it, he's going to need help, and maybe I could just do the website while I live in New York City. I'll reverse commute 45 minutes to his warehouse in New Jersey. And I said, so just teach me how to do it. I didn't know what I was talking about. But he did. He put it in the contract. They sent a guy out, and they're like, well, this is how, they built it, but this is how you need to fill the website. You need good photos, you need good descriptions, you need titles, you need prices, cost of goods, all these things. And that's where it started. So my very first year working for my dad, it was 2004. He gave me a salary of $26,000.
Damn, that's a lot.
In 2004, living in New York City, it was my wife, my girlfriend, who became my wife, was working as at that time, she was a waitress, and she was making 3 times what I was making. And I did it, and I just started literally putting stuff on a table, taking photos, and being like, Dad, what is that? I grew up around it, so I knew a lot of what was there, but I didn't have the expertise he did. And he was like, oh, this is this and this and this. I was like, wait a minute, you have to tell me exactly, how do I find it, right? And so we had books, and the internet was still early. We could look stuff up. It was the best way for me to start in the business because my first 2 or 3 years of cataloging tens of thousands of items and photographing them and, understanding what they were was my training day.
Yeah.
That's how I figured out
just
what I'm
learning
doing.
everything like that.
Yeah.
Well, if you ever want to get back into acting, I could probably give you a few lessons. I've been acting like I've been working for Rick for 22 years now, so I think I'm pretty good at it.
So do you still do the acting gigs?
I did it up until about a year and a half ago. It's not that I don't. So I love doing it, and I have a master's of fine arts in acting, and I'd always done theater. When I moved to New York, I decided I really wanted to try doing TV and film, and I was relatively successful. I mean, nobody was standing in line for the next Alex Cranmer movie. Like, that never happened. But I did enough. I did maybe 30 TV shows you'd heard of. And I'd had some bigger roles. I played like a villain on Law and Order SVU, or I played a baseball player on a TV series, or whatever it was. I played a lot of doctors, cops, and lawyers. And usually guys who were also bad. So I looked like I was a nice guy, but I actually wasn't.
I just can't picture you as a villain.
Well, that's a lot of what I played. In fact, my big first sort of breakout thing, I got out of grad school, and that first year out of grad school, like, you do an industry showcase, so the agents come and see you and the casting directors, and I got a great agent. And that year is really important because if you don't get a job, you're kind of out, right? Like, at least with an agency. And about 6 months in, I got cast in Law and Order SVU, and it's actually a pretty well-known episode because Hayden Panettiere, do you know who she is? Beautiful woman who was married to Klitschko, I think. And she was like, anyway, she went on to do a lot of work. She was actually 16 years old. And I was playing a doctor from Rhode Island who had come to New York, stayed at a hotel, hired her and her friend as prostitutes, not knowing they were underage. They were milking me for money. I, of course, fall in love with one. Then out of nowhere, she has AIDS, but I'm a doctor, so I'm treating her. And it's this classic, like, bizarre, ripped from the headlines, SVU storyline. By the end of it, I get shot and killed. You know, there's two 16-year-old girls, but the scene that I had to do with her, she was actually 16, and we had to make a porn. Yes. And so the director's like, well, we're going to have a closed set. And we're at a hotel that was vacant across from Lincoln Center. And I'm like, oh, closed set, I guess, you know, not too many people. That'll be good. Well, a closed set on those things, instead of like 150 people standing around, there's 50. I mean, it's not like, there's no privacy. And so they give me like the sling to keep everything together, but it looks like you're nude. And then, like, you know, a bathrobe. So I'm standing there like, okay, I have to kind of walk over. And she's in like a Catholic girl school outfit. She's really 16. You're her. Her mom is standing right off camera right there.
I couldn't do that.
Dude, I was terrified. I was so embarrassed.
I would just be so weirded out.
It was the lack of sexy. And like, it was just so tough. And so the director's like, okay, Alex, you can derobe. And like, I'm like 28. I have like hairy chest. Like, I didn't know enough then to like trim your chest hair and like groom it up. So I'm like, okay, take my thing off. Like, this hairy chest comes out. She's 16 years old. I just look in her eyes and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like,
yeah.
Jesus. And so we film, like, you know, it's just the opening scene of the porn. Yeah, it was not the glamour that I thought it would be, but I enjoyed doing that kind of work. And it was sort of, because I had all this acting training, I'd done a ton of theater growing up and a ton of theater in college and after college, and then started doing like real, TV shows. When I was approached about doing Pawn Stars, I had this whole other life running my dad's business, and then it became my business. And I was, every day dealing with antique guns and antique military stuff, that it was like the perfect melding of two worlds. So all of a sudden I could talk about the stuff I was doing every day, but I knew enough through training to kind of go, what do I think would be great TV?
So do you ever think to yourself when you're out here filming, like, damn, I got a master's in acting and I have to work with this guy, Rick Harrison, who can barely get a sentence out.
He's got to work with you too.
Oh, yeah. It's probably a pleasure.
Well, but,
who's more pleasant to work with, me or Rick?
You guys are different. I mean, you're very different guys, but my favorite thing about you two is what the conversations that over 10 years of being around you all the time, the conversations you have off camera, you're both really funny guys and you're both really smart guys. And I think that comes through in the TV show. Don't give all my secrets away. But that comes through. I mean, that's why the show was popular. I mean, truly. And so being able to walk in and, the best thing my actor training did for me was to just be like, don't bullshit. Yeah. Just be yourself. Say as much truth as you can think of, and don't, because people know, we all have that bullshit radar. And as soon as you sense somebody's not being truthful, you stop paying attention to them.
Well, it's like, because I tried to watch some of these shows that copied us in the beginning. Oh, right. And I would start watching them going like, wrong. It was just, when the Pawn Stars thing happened, it was just so successful and boom, so everyone wanted to copy us. And they were just coming up with anyone who just
saw all those.
Could bullshit their way for a TV show. And it was just, some of those shows were so bad. I mean, you could, and like, even like me, I know they're lying, but I thought it just came out. Some intern wrote a script for it, but that's what they did.
And that's why they didn't continue. And I think was the secret to your success, is that you were real guys really doing this. You have a real relationship, and you are both genuinely funny in different ways, and that makes it entertaining. Plus, what I like so much about this show, I had a terrible TV show, terrible in 2012 on National Geographic. It was called Family Guns. My dad and I did it. They told us it was going to be something it wasn't. They completely changed what it was supposed to be, and they sent in scriptwriters, and I'm so embarrassed about it. Like, I never want to see it. I never want to talk about it. And that experience of doing it, because it was fake, like, to me, it didn't feel right. Like, they were having my dad and I argue.
I wish we had a guy with a computer so we could pull up an episode.
But that was Pawn Stars was the opposite of that for me. I then got to come in and just talk about the piece, not try to generate some fake drama.
That's one of the coolest things about doing the show is like, there's not a script, you know.
Right.
Yeah. When we first started, like some of the scenes, they were literally trying to tell me what to say. I'm like, everything you're telling me to say is wrong, and I'm not going to do it. And they're like, nope, not going to do it. I got a reputation with I have a reputation, and my reputation is not going to be screwed up because of this show. And then once we became really, really popular, I mean, they really didn't have a choice.
People ask me a lot, like, oh, you know, they seem like good dudes. Like, well, you have the reputation, and this is just the way it's spun. No, you had the reputation of being like the dumb, funny guy.
Yeah.
You're not dumb. You're very, very intelligent guy, which is why you're funny. Because you have said things on camera that I'm like, man, that was like quick, like a professional comedian quick.
Well, I can't think of what I'm going to say either. Just if I like think of something and try to be funny, it never delivers right. It has to be like in the moment.
And I've witnessed it for 10 years. But people ask me about you, and I'm like, Rick is a really smart dude. I'm the firearm and military expert, right? Or military expert. But I only probably know about 10, maybe 15% more about this gun than Rick does, if that. But you allow me to come in to be like, hey, this, and that. But you usually, I rarely tell you stuff you don't know.
Yeah, but having you on adds an extra layer of fun.
Yeah.
It's adds an extra layer of information because, you know, Rick does know a lot, but you bring a different point. And then, of course, we've had so many fun times over the years going to ranges, tanks, this, that, and the other. Yeah. My favorite moment, the flamethrower.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, do you have a favorite moment from filming with us? There were so many cool moments.
I definitely have a favorite moment.
I know what your favorite moment is. No.
I know. That's when we shot, like, it was those rockets with ropes on them. Oh, that sort of just did not go fucking as planned.
My goal when I came here, like when I first started the show, and once I got a little bit of, like the first year or two, you guys were like testing me out. But once I got comfortable, was like I would always talk to Tracy, who's was the show runner, whatever you
well,
say.
So like for everyone watching and listening, Tracy, I try to bring this up like almost every podcast, is the brains of the operation. Right. And I'm the pretty face. But Tracy is
so we're smart and ugly.
So, all right, how long have you been working, Tracy, for us?
12 years.
She's been the brains. She's been the showrunner, the director, the producer, my personal psychotherapist for
so
like
Tracy's the brains
she's
of
awesome.
the operation.
I mean, she was a big reason why.
Yeah, she's definitely the brains of the operation.
She's also much more beautiful than you, so I guess you're just nothing.
Maybe slightly more attractive.
So I joined the cast maybe 6 months or 8 months after Tracy started, and the conversations after maybe the first year would be with her, what can we do to make a great episode? Like, if I'm going to fly from New Jersey to Vegas, like I was doing it to promote my business, but if I was going to promote my business, I wanted to do stuff that everybody would be like, wow, that was cool. And so then became like, what can we blow up? And what can I find out on the market? Like what crazy firearm, what crazy cannon, what can we do? And that would be my homework. And I would just sit and be like,
blowing shit up.
So do you have one favorite moment or do you just...
one of the first things we ever blew up was a giant wine barrel. Do you remember this? It was, and we hired a pyrotechnic guy from LA who does like movies and stuff, Blaine, and he came in and he did this giant wine barrel, and we had a screw gun, a mountain gun, and he was like, okay, it was like 200 yards away, and I remember being like, okay, well, is that close? He goes, no, you got about a good 20 feet. And I was like, 20 feet. I really did think he was kidding. I rigged it with friction primer, so I was able to pull the cord and like have that nice thing, that nice explosion. So I pulled the cord, and the next thing you knew, and we had never stunned. You had blown stuff up in the show, but not like this.
That was our first good.
Yeah, that was our first
yeah.
bang, like Hollywood bang. That barrel went like way up into the air, and one of the iron hoops went landed like 20 feet from you and I. And I looked at him, I was like, Blaine. He goes, I told you, 20 feet. And then that sort of set the bar. So I didn't want to come on the show unless I could offer something really cool that the viewers would be like, not only, and so much of what I do is like stuff behind glass in museums, stuff at a gun show, you can't touch it. Like, I'm not like that. I like, we have this thing of, if it shoots, it'll be worth more. Well, not really. Probably not. But some people, yeah. And you know why? Because they've watched this for 10 years going, hey, I'll buy that cannon, but it'd be really cool if it could shoot.
It just has a cool factor if you know it works, right?
Yeah. No, and like over the years, I mean, we've had so many, we'd get ready for it. So like, especially the guns, like this, we knew like, okay, it's airing tonight. So like, just so you know, just set it up on the website to automatically start at midnight. And by the next day, we're getting bids left and right for it. A lot of the things were just so cool. We wouldn't even put a price on it. We just started an auction,
right?
Because they'd see that. And there's been other episodes where, we just have people start, like it'd be something really cool, and they'd be calling up the shop. And I'm like, just start taking bids. Well, just tell everybody you can make an offer. This is what the current offer is.
And that, I guess, so 10 or 11 years, however long I was on it, went by in a flash. I think I did over 100 episodes, and I will see things now that come up on my feed for social or something. I'm like, I totally forgot.
Yeah.
I actually bought a mass arms revolver a few weeks ago, and I was trying to remember about, there's so many different, I can't keep it all in my head, so I just did a quick internet search. And I found my own video of the same gun.
I can trust
I was
this
like,
guy.
no wonder. That's why I wanted that gun.
So do people walk up to you and say, "Hey, you're the gun guy at Pawn Stars"?
Occasionally, this is the interesting thing about acting. So I was fortunate enough to have a little bit of an acting career and got to meet well-known actors. I will say I don't envy how famous you guys are. I think it's great, and you really do handle it well. Like, I've seen you with fans. You're fantastic. I never did this so I could put my name in lights. I did this strictly to promote my business. So people do recognize me, and I'm always happy to shake a hand and say hello. And usually it happens at, like, a gun show or, like, a military show. But I just try to go under the radar, and I'm not like MHP with the hat. Like, everyone knows who he is, from far away.
So recognizable.
Yeah. So,
you've been doing this a long time. You pretty much brought IMA into the internet phase, right? Where do you see military collectibles going in the next 10 to 20 years?
That's a good question. So I go back to my dad, who really started it. He was 19 years old and went into business for himself. My dad is completely self-made. And he, therefore, in all that time, he has seen every bust and boom for the most part. Mm-hmm. I started in 2004, so I went through 2008. And my father always said to me, he's like, he's English, this business will always be wonderful. I'm like, why, Dad? I'm doing a terrible impression of him, but that's how he sounds to me. I'm like, why? He's like, because men are selfish. I'm like, they're selfish? He sounds like a British Yoda. And I'm like, what? What do you mean? He's like, well, the women's collection of pottery or china or their handbags, that'll go out the window in a recession. But men are selfish. And they will always find time to buy a really good collectible gun and find a little money for it. And they'll hide it and they'll send it to their office or whatever it is. And, knock on wood, since I started that company and I took it strictly e-commerce, I think we were down about 1 or 2% in 2009, and we've never had a down year. Even through, COVID made us skyrocket, but we were able to hang on to that. And this show, it really helps to have, my face and my company name out there, and, it sort of recycles itself. These little pieces come up on TikTok and Instagram and stuff. So where I see it going, is basically more of the same. And here's where, when you sell collectibles, I think you have to be very careful. So we guarantee everything we sell for life. And I started that about 5 years ago. Because people who want to buy these things, they may buy an antique Winchester from us, and today it may cost $3,000. In 10 years, it might be $5,000. What they don't want to have happen is they put $3,000 into this thing, and in 4 years, somebody goes, oh, that's totally wrong. It's been doctored. It has this, and the serial number's fake. And then it's worth like half. So in that event, and it won't happen because we know enough, but look, we're human, and nobody who sells collectibles can tell you they haven't made a mistake. That's a lie. We've all made a mistake. Mm-hmm. We've made multiple mistakes. You learn from them, and you make sure you never burn anybody. So we did a lifetime authenticity guarantee. So anything somebody buys from us now or later, it will give you a full refund. And it's happened a few times. There have been a couple of things stuff we didn't know.
Because after you've been doing it long enough, people ask me all the time, like, how do you tell if something's fake or real? Well, if you know a lot about it, you go, like, with a gun, is the stock right? Is the frame right? Is the bolt right? Is the serial numbers right? And you just go through that list. If everything's right, it's cool. If there's one thing wrong, we got a problem.
Right.
Okay? And it's that simple in telling if something's real. You just have to know what you're looking at. Okay? If you're really, really knowledgeable on it, and you can tell, you start checking everything. It's like a Rolex. The hand's right, the face right, the case right, the movement right, the bezel right, the crown right. If everything's right, it's right. If there's one thing wrong, there's a problem.
Right. That's exactly. Yeah.
So, Alex, we always ask our guests to bring in an item. And I'm looking at the table and I see a jersey. You're supposed to be our military antique guy. I was expecting at least a helmet. What do we got here?
So I brought two things. This is the non-military thing.
Okay.
So this is a 1977 New York Yankees jersey. And if you flip it over, it's number 9. So number 9 that season was a guy named Greg Nettles.
Who?
Greg Nettles. He was third baseman, Golden Glove, incredible player. So in like 2007, I was cast to play him in a series called The Bronx is Burning, which aired on ESPN. It was a mini series, like a short series, I think like 8 episodes or something. And it's about the summer of 1977 in New York. And it's sort of perilous storylines. There's a storyline on Summer of Sam, the murders. Yeah. And there's a storyline on New York itself. There were riots, and the Bronx is burning. There were riots in the Bronx, and fires happening during one of the World Series games at Yankee Stadium. And then Reggie Jackson hits 3 home runs in a row over 2 games. That's got his nickname, Mr. October. And there was a ton of racial divide on the team. Billy Martin was the manager. So this series, John Turturro, who's to this day one of the most amazing actors I've ever encountered, played Billy Martin. I got to play Greg Nettles. And my role was, I'm in every episode and I have a couple of lines. Again, nobody was seeing that show because I was in it. And Oliver Platt played George Steinbrenner, but it was amazing to be on set for 3 months. And I got to go to baseball camp for 2 weeks with the other kind of primary baseball player castmates. And of course, we go to baseball camp for 2 weeks with all these AAA players. They kind of teach us like kind of how to throw, kind of how to hit. And none of it was used. I mean, we didn't get to do any of that in the series.
But I just wanted you to stand right.
Yeah, exactly. And kind of like know how to spit your tobacco and know we were doing sunflower seeds or whatever, but know how they sit in the dugout. Like, getting the body language of it as much correct as you could, because that stuff they would see. And it was a pinnacle experience for me just to have being outside my world of like every day working at the warehouse to being like a real actor on a show.
So that's your jersey from
that? So that's my jersey. Yeah.
So pretty cool. Are you still taking gigs at all, or did you fully give it up?
I'm sort of on hiatus. About a year ago, I was with my same agent for 20 years, and she is phenomenal. Her name's Jeannie Nicolosi in New York, and she saw me at that showcase coming out of grad school, and she said, "I think someday you're going to have your own TV show." That didn't really happen, but she wasn't wrong. Like, I had good success. Then I did Pawn Stars for 10 years. But what was happening was COVID kind of ruined it for me. it really changed. It changed a lot of things, but the impact that it had for actors is we used to audition in person, even for TV. And in New York, it was a smaller community. LA was the big TV thing, but New York had a lot of production themselves. So all the Law and Orders and Soprano and 30 Rock and tons of New York shows that I wound up being on. Those would cast in person. So you would go to the audition, you would see other actors that you knew. They were my buddies. Like you'd see the casting director would cast you in something. There was a community vibe to it. And I also took it very seriously because I'm walking into a room with 5 or 6 people watching me. Yeah, they're taping, but like it's like a job interview. So I'd prepare and like got really into it. COVID, you couldn't do that. So all of a sudden you're self-taping. So you're basically setting up your iPhone and like reading your lines with my wife or my kids, whoever can help me. And it just took the magic out of it for me.
Yeah.
And
there was a lot of tough
Have
stuff.
you ever done any improv?
I have, and I wish I was better at it. Okay. I think you would actually be great at it.
I would, but I'm thinking about starting a new show called Pawn Shop, and I'm looking for someone to read for the part of Rick Harrison. So, I mean, if you want to improv something right now.
I just got to shave, but otherwise, yeah.
This Rick Harrison has hair.
You have to grow one of these.
All right, so that's pretty cool. You've had a great acting career. I mean, you have a very successful collectible business.
Okay, so what's the coolest gun you have?
I have at the moment. So what's interesting about me versus my dad is a collector at heart. He loves this stuff. I grew up in it and was surrounded by it and never developed the same deep affection for it. I do love the stuff. I love it because I respect its history, and there are things I get excited about. Where I get jazzed is the business side of it. I love seeing how the website performs and what people are into, but I also love the stuff. So for me, if you came to my home, you wouldn't know what I do. Yeah. You go to my dad's home, it's filled. For me, my office is, that's the stuff. So the coolest stuff that I've had usually comes into my hands for a couple of weeks and then goes out. Yeah. And I'm happy that I had a time with it. So the stuff that we hang on to typically is my dad's stuff. So of that we have hung on to, wheel lock. There's a beautiful wheel lock we have, and we call it a puffer. So wheel lock is an earlier version of firearms mechanism. We had one on the show. We did fire it here. And it wasn't the same gun I'm talking about. But there's bone inlay in it. It was made in Germany in like 1580. It's so old, 1580, 200 years basically before the United States as a country. And this thing still works, and it's beautifully engraved in silver, and the bone inlay. So like things like that I look at, and at that point, and many points in firearms history, and one of the reasons I think firearms are so collectible and a good investment is you have 3 things going on. You have its a role in its function, right? It's a weapon. So in a battle, it was used, and you can think about, an Enfield was used in the Civil War, so you think about a Civil War battle. But it's also a mechanism, like a watch, like you said earlier about how watches are built. So you have this technology aspect to them and how they work and how they break and how you fix them. So it appeals to people on that level. And then the third one is, in many ways, from their design, they're works of art. So especially the older guns, you get guns from the 1500s, 1600s, 1700s. These things are works of art in how they're built, intentionally works of art. And when you look at the stuff that goes through the test of time, you think about fine art, literature, religious objects, firearms. These are collectible things that were very expensive at the time they were made, that get handed down by generation and treasured. And so all those things combined for me in an old gun, and that wheel lock sort of is the epitome of that.
Yeah, or you could just use the redneck version. They're just cool.
Well, yeah, and then they explode, right? And like that's really cool. When I'm on the show, I get a lot of feedback of like how much I scream. Okay. Yes. About like we shoot something, I'm like, wow, I actually really enjoy that. I'm not putting that on. Like that to me is fun.
So you have your own chum, don't you? You have your very own chum that works for you. His name is Spencer. How did you meet Spencer? Because we met Spencer through you.
Yes, you did meet Spencer. I love Spencer, and I've known him. I've known Spencer at least 10 years.
Is that fair to say? You have your very own chum?
Yeah, Spencer's well, like you. He's easy to write off like he's not, an intelligent guy. Spencer's very, very smart and very capable. And
very hard to negotiate with.
Very hard, and that's why we're still together. So, and I will say this because he would get so pissed off if he was called my employee. He's not. He actually doesn't work for me. He has his own company. And he is basically he's a 1099 for me, and he has his own stuff that he does. But so he, in a way, we're partners. But he is a buyer, and he buys. He goes all over the country and world buying anything. I mean, for me, he's only buying militaria and guns.
And he brings all the junk to us.
Yeah. Well, he finds, in the pursuit of what he loves Americana, right? So, but in the pursuit of what he's buying, he always finds other stuff, and that's how it winds up here.
Well, no, I mean, like literally, you try to negotiate with him, and he just won't stop talking. And it won't
sound familiar.
Yeah, but dude, you're asking twice as much as I could buy it online. But this is better for some reason.
Yeah.
And the next time I see him, I'm just going to keep on telling him, but you work for Alex.
Oh, he will hate that. He will hate that. So this is the foundational relationship. Is I was at a gun show, and I was walking past. It was with my dad, and there were these little M1 carbine pouches. So they're little canvas pouches that take 2 magazines for the M1 carbine, and they're from World War II. And we were making reproductions because we had supplied a bunch of them to different films, and I was making reproductions of them in Asia, and they cost like, I don't know, $4 to make. We're selling them for $12.95, and we were selling tons of them because all these films had come out and they look cool. You can put them on the back of your gun and they hold your magazines, but they're little canvas pouches. I go by this table and there's all these, those Home Depot plastic tubs. There's like 5 of them filled with original ones from World War II, and it had like a sign like buy 1, 15, buy 10, $14.50. And I look at the kid, who was a kid, basically, like a 18-year-old kid. I'm like, how much for all of them? He goes, what? I was like, I would like to buy all of them. Do I get a discount better than the one that you're advertising? He goes, I don't know. What, you want all of them? Yeah. He goes, hold on. So he calls, and it's Spencer. And Spencer walks up. And, like the best price break was like $14. And, and that was for 10 or whatever. I'm like, hey, nice to meet you. I'd like to buy all of them. He goes, oh, okay. I said, do you know how many here? He goes, probably 2,000. I said, so what's my price break? None. Come on, man. I'm buying them all. You're not going to be a price break? Nope. And he wouldn't come off it, but I knew I could sell them for a lot more. So I did the deal. And I was like, but I can't. We were in like Kentucky. I was like, I can't take them back to New Jersey. You got to deliver them. So that was my negotiating thing. He's like, oh, fine. No.
Well, I can hear the complaining already.
So he delivered them to me. He delivers them. He pulls up to the warehouse. We get and he had more. So we like did a deal for, I don't know, 10,000 of them, something like that. And he brings them all in, and they're all in those Home Depot bins. And he, kind of hands me the invoice. And he's like, so, here are your 10,000 things. I counted them. We counted them. And then each bin is, he charged me for the bins like $25. I'm like, dude, you're charging me for the bins? Yeah, they cost money. I'm like, oh my God, fine. So give him the check.
That's the best Spencer story ever.
And then he's like, well, I brought some other stuff. You want to look at it? And so he pulls out all these what we call one-of-a-kinds. So that would be a surplus deal for us. But one-of-a-kinds would be like a Winchester gun, a firearm, an American World War II helmet. So he pulls out like 50 one-of-a-kind items, and we go through piece by piece, negotiating, beating it. And I'm tough about that too when I'm buying, and he's tough. And it took hours. That was the beginning of our relationship, and we did that for a couple of years. He would come up with a truck, and we would just haggle with one another. My father couldn't even stand it. Like, he used to sit there, and he's like, I can't be around you two. And finally, we were both doing well. I was selling it. He was making money. We were both doing well. And I said, Spencer, can we figure out a better way to do this? Can we figure out, like, if you buy it, I'll fund it, and you make a commission on the net profit. And so we came up with a formula that basically he's motivated to buy low and sell high. He's motivated only to buy things that are going to sell, right? Not to buy a bunch of stuff that never sells. Because now, in a way, we're partners and we're sharing in this success. And that has been going on for like 8 or 9 years. And
it's probably great to work with for that, because he is a traveling man. That guy hits the pavement and doesn't look back.
Man.
Yeah.
He also has an obsession with corn crisps. Oh.
Yeah,
he always brings it up in conversation. But I've never even seen one.
So a corn crib, I mean, it's a Southern thing. He's from Tennessee, and Jersey guy. I'm like, what the? Yeah, although we do have Jersey corn, I was like, what's a corn crib? He told me what it is. I was like, what is with that? He goes, well, when I was like 20, I found a guy who had a corn crib full of American World War II helmet liners, and he made tons of money buying them. He bought them from the guy who didn't want them, basically, and sold them, and that's been like the joke. Like, oh, you're gonna find something good in a corn crib.
Yeah, no, he's a great guy. He's and he knows a lot.
He does.
Yeah, but like, it's just brutal. I mean, like, he isn't one of those guys, like, because basically when Spencer shows up, I know what I'm going to pay for something. He knows what he's going to sell it for, but he's got to go through the whole parade and the back and forth and just the drama to what we could have just made a deal with.
Yep.
But he's got to do. I mean, it's just
part of the fun for Spencer, I think.
And I couldn't have dealt with him anymore unless we cut that out, and we did. Yeah. But yeah, that's.
Alex, I'm seeing a little something shiny over there.
Yes.
What is that?
So this
is that
was
brass knuckles.
This was my second thing.
You brought brass knuckles.
I brought some brass knuckles, but like anything, it's more than what appears. Anything I bring on. So this is referred to as an Apache Revolver, and it's
like
essentially
the Indians.
Yeah, like the Indians, but it had nothing to do with the Apache tribe.
Okay.
So this is a combination weapon. It's got 3 weapons in it. So it's got brass knuckles. It then, and this can be a little sticky, but I'll see if I can get it off.
Oh, you did bring a firearm.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
So it also has a knife. So now you have brass knuckles and you got a knife.
So just in case you want to bring a knife to a gunfight?
That's right. But if you do have a gunfight, you also have that.
Where's the barrel?
So no barrel. It fires directly from the cylinder. So this is a super close combat weapon. Meaning you fire it within 4 or 5 feet of somebody.
You need a target the size of Rick to hit him?
Yeah, and you need to be like this close.
Yeah.
So tell me, what year? Did you say what year that was?
So the reason it's called an Apache Revolver is in France, specifically Paris, from about 1870 to like the early 1900s, there was a street gang. And they were so violent that the Parisian press started saying they were as violent as the Apache Indians in America, because there were these stories of scalpings and mass murders of settlers moving west. And so this gang was sort of referred to mostly in the press as the Apaches, and this style weapon became associated with them, as well as a bunch of dirty fighting techniques. Specifically like headbutting someone when they're not expecting it, all kinds of stuff. And what's interesting about these is they didn't make a lot. There was a pretty big market to fake these later, like 30 years later, taking pinfire revolvers and adapting them. This one, though, was purpose-made. It's marked with a patent underneath, or who had the patent in French. It's also iron or steel. Many of them were brass, and this wiggles a bit, but it's not like many that I've seen, and this doesn't wiggle at all, that are sort of hodgepodge together to kind of appear as what it should be.
So how did you find that?
So this one was in a private collection. So this is the kind of stuff we have to do. A guy wanted to sell his collection. He was going to go to the auction house, and those are our biggest competitors when we're buying collections or auctions. And the thing with an auction, and you can make great money at an auction. No, it's like with anything else. Sometimes they're great, sometimes they're not. But if you give your collection to an auction, you're inherently waiting 6 months or a year for that auction to even happen, and then they have to clear their accounts and give you the commission check, and they take a portion
like
of
Rick
it
right now.
Well, it's true. Whereas we give you cash.
Yeah.
Right. So I had to send somebody to on a 5-hour flight with a giant. I don't want to get too into it, but basically a giant duffel bag of cash, and say, we're going to pay you this immediately. You give us this collection, and I had to send a team out who had to pack it and ship it back specially in a special manner. But it was worth it, and so there were some really great pieces, and this was part of it. And I'd been looking for one for a really long time, a really good one. So this is a really quality one.
That's really cool, and but the part that I find weird is so it's pre-1899. So
yeah,
legally, as far as the federal government goes, anyway, it's a toaster. There's no law.
So it's not a.
Yeah,
it's not a gun.
No, so any gun manufactured before 1899, as far as the federal government is concerned, is no different than a toaster or a coffee maker. There's zero federal regulations on it. Okay. But the funny thing is, with that, it's brass knuckles, so that's illegal in some states.
Correct.
Well, maybe those are steel knuckles, so you can get away with it.
No, I mean the funny thing is it's probably illegal in some states because it has brass knuckles, not because it's a firearm.
Oh,
that's how weird. That's how weird.
It's definitely illegal in 17 states or something to sell this.
Cool.
Because of the brass knuckles, not because it's a revolver. But again, it's in a caliber that when I needed this caliber, I had to make it. I had to take other calibers and file them down, and it's a pain in the butt.
Tell me you brought some ammo for it.
Of course, I brought ammo for it.
All right.
I mean, can we go shoot it or?
Oh yeah, we could definitely shoot it.
I wasn't going to come here without something to shoot.
Well, we'll wrap up the podcast and then we'll go shoot it.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to talk about before we go shoot this? You want to plug your website one more time? You got any big things on there that people would be excited to take a look at?
Well, yeah, we have World War II. The things we sell go all the way back 2,000 years for rare Japanese katanas, stuff from the Roman Empire, to Revolutionary War muskets, to World War II Jeeps, all the way up to stuff from Afghanistan. And I'm sure the stuff that's in Ukraine right now will be collectible at some point in the future.
Okay, so, does the Roman stuff do well? Because the whole thing on the internet last year was every guy thinks of the Roman Empire at least once a day.
Really?
You heard of that, right? It was a big thing on the internet.
How do you manage to get so far off topic sometimes?
You know what? My brain thinks different than other people, right?
I would say that.
I'm wired a little bit different.
You're definitely wired different. Alex, it's been a pleasure talking to you.
I loved it, guys.
I'm sorry Rick cuts you off time after time, but he is
well,
a
no.
beautiful
We're just, you don't say goodbye. We're just going to say to be continued because we just run right down the street to the gun range. I want to shoot that.
Oh, you want to film it?
Yeah, we'll film it.
All right. Well, it's been great talking to you. It's been great talking with you, but I guess we're going to go have the real fun right now.
Well, that's why I brought it. I figured we would.
All right. Can we have lunch first?
No.
Can we have lunch after?
It's still early. You can go have lunch anywhere you want afterwards. I don't care. I'm going home.
Rude. Alex came all the way out here to hang out with you.
I might take Alex out to lunch.
All right. We'll go to lunch afterwards.
Sounds good.
All right.
All right, should we go down the street then? I'll call up Battlefield and see if we can get a lane or something.
And you guys,
they always do.
Can you guys shoot it now?
Oh, I'm going to shoot that thing for sure if you brought me a bullet.
Because when I started on the show, you guys were allowed to shoot things. Then we went through a politically correct era where only I could shoot things. Yeah. So I'm hopeful.
I'm on Rick's insurance today. We're all good, baby.
Yeah, this is the Rick in capital letters and in small letters, Chum podcast.
Well, everything's better with me, Rick. That's what they say. Rick, you should think about cleaning out the back of your car. It looks like a 16-year-old girl lives in this.
You know what? I just got some stuff in my car because I got some stuff I'm doing.
You got 3 loads of laundry back there.
There's not 3 loads of laundry back there.
There's at least 3 different outfits.
Okay, well, I'm literally going to change later today, and I'm at work, so I brought some clothes with me.
You should change now.
What's wrong with this?
It smells dirty.
All right, Alex, what do we got?
So this is the Apache Revolver, and
where's it made?
So this one is either made in France or Belgium. It's got a tiny little marking underneath it. I can show you that acknowledges the patent, which happened in about 1870. But these were really popular in Paris about the turn of the century. So 1880s, 90s, early 20th century, with a specific group of guys who became known as the Apaches. And they're essentially like a street gang, like classic thugs who would do kind of petty and violent crime. So they basically would mug you, and they would travel in pairs or threes. And this supposedly was one of their favorite weapons because it's basically 3-in-1. So you have brass knuckles, then you can release a blade to pull down, and it becomes essentially, this blade isn't necessarily, but it locks into place. It's not necessarily sharp on the outside of the edges, but it's got a really needle tip. So it becomes a weapon where you can punch and then jam down. And then once you've done all that, it becomes a double action pistol.
Okay, so it's like a trench knife. It's the Swiss Army knife before the Swiss Army knife.
Exactly. It's a Swiss Army knife of firearms. And it's interesting because the cylinder doesn't have a barrel. So, typically when you see a revolver, you have a 2-inch, 3-inch, 4-inch, 10-inch barrel. This has nothing. You just fire right from the cylinder. But it is 6-shot.
Like a pepper box, just shorter.
Essentially. And in fact, this was purpose-built. And you could tell by the way in which the frame is built. But they did take pepper boxes and adapt them to be these as well. Usually they were in pin fire. That fell out of practice about 1880. And then you would find them in rim fire. This one's special because it's center fire and it's 30 caliber. So it's about a 7.62 in millimeters. Most of these were in 7mm pin fire. This is one of the only ones I've ever found in 7.62 center fire.
Okay. What do you think?
I think we should do one where we pretend like Rick listened to the whole podcast and already knew what it was.
Want to hear my newest favorite dad joke?
I really, I left my joke out so bad. I was going to say, Rick is so used to using his 2-inch barrel, but I left that out. You love the 2-inch barrel, don't you, Rick?
Yeah. Well, no, my newest dad joke is like, I wish I listened to my dad when I was young.
I wish he listened to anybody anytime.
But I never listened to him, so I don't know what he said.
We know.
Yeah, that's my newest dad joke.
It's one of your worst.
All right. Okay, so have you fired it yet?
No, but I made like custom ammunition. So it's 30 cal. I had 32. So I just I
was just seeing if they were peppermint flavored bullets.
I mean, you can put it in your mouth and find out. But it's mechanically really sound, and it's only double action, so you can't pull the trigger back and use it as single action. So once I load, and it does have a loading gate too.
Should we have a little contest, 1 round each, so you can get the best shot?
I don't think we're going to be able to tell with that target.
It's going to be really hard to hit anything because there is no barrel. So this was made to be shot at somebody within 1 to 2 foot proximity. So you would really just like put it right up against somebody's belly and shoot it.
Well, I mean, you know what? These were made in the 1870s onward, so it was kind of a self-protect. Yeah. It was kind of a gimmicky gun. Like, I mean, imagine you walk to the gun store, like, that's kind of cool. You know what I mean?
Right. And if you wanted to keep it concealed, it was really easy to do.
Yeah. Yeah, because I can't imagine putting that in my pocket, then someone coming along and then, well, I guess the gun is completely functional to start with. Pulling the, yeah.
So you could easily put it in a pocket or a coat pocket. Pull it out.
And just. So this just goes bam like that.
Yep.
And fire it. It is the worst feeling grip of any gun I've ever had.
Yeah, it's not like comfortable to shoot, but.
Yeah. It's not something you'd want to take to the range. So what's something like this worth?
This particular one, I think about 7,000, but they vary. Some, you could find them cheaper. You can find them a little bit more expensive, but this one is purpose-built and a really nice condition. It's also all steel. Many times you find them in brass. So the iron frame and the iron butt really gives it like a little bit more uniqueness.
How much you want for it?
I'll sell it to you for $5.
You couldn't help yourself, huh?
Well, dude, I mean, it's pretty. I mean, it's kind of cheesy, but it's kind of really cool too.
They're hard to find. I've been looking for one for a really long time.
Well, let's see if it works.
The funny thing is that it's really old, so the gun is legal in like some states, but the brass knuckles might be illegal.
That's completely true. You're right.
Yeah.
The gun is legal pretty much almost everywhere, but the brass knuckles are not.
Okay, that's pretty weird.
Yeah.
What about the knife?
I don't think, no, there's nothing really you have to worry about with the knife.
Okay.
Because it's not a switchblade. You have to actually put it
Okay.
into place.
Well, let's fire this thing in and see if it even works before you think about buying it. He can't help himself.
I know.
I know. We have our good buddy Alex to come chat it up with us and bring something cool, and you try to buy it from him.
Well, it's kind of in my nature. All right. So, all right, you shoot it first.
All right. The other nice thing, it's got this little loading gate. So you don't really see those on pepper boxes usually, especially on Apache pistols. So whoever made this, and because it is marked with a patent, was a higher end gun maker. And they were taking more modern technology. So I think this probably comes from about 1890.
Yeah, I mean, it does look like that era because it is. You can tell it's quality built. It's not when you pick it up, it doesn't rattle. All right.
All right, we'll give it a try.
Let's do it.
Eyes and
All right.
ears.
I want to get a shot off.
I think we'll all shoot it.
All right.
I'll let you guys shoot it first. Make sure you don't hurt yourselves. Then I'll do it.
I mean, if I was you, I'd want to know how. Yeah, I'd want to know how safe it was as well. As long as you're alive, I can still make money,
All right.
whether I'm injured or not.
That's the important part.
That's the important part.
There's 2 cylinders that are a little narrower. So I'm just trying to avoid those.
Okay.
There, that's good.
Got my ears in.
So it's a close range weapon. So I'm just going to do it within about, 8 feet?
Nice.
Did I hit? Oh, I did.
Yeah.
Hit. So I was aiming down here. So
Okay.
it has zero.
Well, does
zero
he
accuracy.
now-
have
So
sights
that's
on
a
it?
good, over 8 feet. That rose like a foot.
Well, now it's not a cold barrel. Is it just straight out of the chamber? There's absolutely
Just
zero
right,
barrel.
right out of the cylinder.
That's pretty cool.
Yep. All right.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Okay, I'll get you loaded up.
So how many of these things were made?
Likely less than 1,000. Actually, probably even less than that. I have seen them come up. I've kind of wanted one for about 10 years, and I've seen them come up occasionally, auction. Once in a while, I see them at gun shows, but they're always hokey, right? Like they're always feel like they were put together, a converted pepper box, or maybe made after the time to simulate. Also, the other ones are usually pinfire, and that is such a pain in the ass to try to get ammunition for. Then you have to make it, and it's really difficult. I've done it a few times, but it wasn't worth the effort. So when I saw a centerfire one, I was like, getting it.
All right. Okay.
All right, chum.
All right. You ready to shoot this?
I am actually. I'm excited to finally shoot a gun with Alex. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been over a year.
That should be ready to go. If nothing happens, fire it again.
Okay.
All right.
So
Hold on.
I'm trying to count.
Hold on, chum. I got my ears in.
Nice!
That was nice.
Did you go right where I went?
You didn't even hit the target.
No, I heard. I saw it. Well, maybe. I think he did.
Yeah, I think I was aiming for Alex's hole.
That can be taken several ways.
Pause.
I don't believe you shot through the same hole.
I saw it move.
Yeah. Look. Well, I mean,
That's
look
the
at
wind
it.
around it.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I'm just
I
saying
have
he
a
did not
feeling
shoot it.
I think if we rolled the tape back, I think that got bigger. I think you may have hit right next to me.
I mean, that's where I was aiming for.
All right. Let me show you guys how it's done.
All right. Let's put it back on the table.
I will show you how it's done.
Are you gonna aim for mine and Alex's hole, or are you gonna just?
Sure. Yeah. No. I'm gonna aim for the bullseye.
The first round, the first trigger pull might be nothing. I'm just counting
Okay.
off the clicks. So if it is, just hit it again.
Here we go, guys.
Nice!
Nice.
You missed that. You fully missed.
Yeah. You fully jerked.
Yeah, you went up.
Yeah. Oh no, you hit right here.
Where? Oh, there it is.
I did too. Both of us did.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
All right, where did I hit?
Right here. One of these is me. I think this one's me because I looked here last time. I think that's you. I think that's me.
So it does come up, but that's also the thing about if you don't have any kind of barrel just coming right out of the cylinder, even just a tiny little variation in degree will make it go.
Well, I mean, once it comes out of the barrel, it's flying all over.
Well, that's true too, but
yeah. I mean, so technically, it would be like a 1-inch barrel.
That's a no-inch barrel. That's literally just chamber.
Rick has a lot of experience with a 1-inch barrel.
I mean, this is the distance that you want to shoot somebody.
So yeah. Usually you're complaining to me about the dick jokes.
Oh,
All
my
right.
name is Richard.
That's right. That used to be my pickup line.
I bet it used to work so often.
Oh, it was like, my name's Rick. Just remember what it rhymes with. You'll never forget it. Right?
Sure.
All right. Well, that was pretty awesome. Thanks for coming down and talking with us today, Alex.
Man, I really enjoyed it.
That is really cool.
Do you want to buy it?
You know what? We will discuss it. Let's go have lunch.
Let's buy it, Rick.
Okay,
you can donate it to my...
No, this is my plan. I'm going to take him to lunch. I'm going to start feeding him alcohol, and then we're going to negotiate.
I know Alex. Once he gets a beer in him, things get more expensive.
If I sell that, it's $7,000. I offered it to you for $5,000. That's like a friendship thing.
All right. I'll think on it. Do I need another gun? I probably do.
That one you do. Like, that's a dope piece. You can actually put in a cool little case and display it in Oregon, like on the mantle. That would look pretty sick.
That's all this is a conversation piece.
Like, that's not going to go. That's going to be a pretty cool piece in your cabin.
It's all right. I'll make more money if I sell it to someone else. It's fine.
All right. We'll think about it. I'll think about it. Let's go have lunch. You should get a more professional case for your bullets, though.
Well, it's free. And why waste money on that? Right?
Yeah.
I've been using these for years. Thank you.
I gotta admit, I do too. They're good for everything. I've actually bought like Altoids just so I can get the little case.
That's exactly what I did. I bought a whole thing from Costco, like a giant.
This is Pawn After Dark.